Well, welcome to my channel. Here's the issue that I have never heard anybody mention before, but it occurred to me today. I've always been suspicious of a couple of things about names in this hemisphere. So we've got the concept of the old world and the new world. And it was said that Amerigo Vespucci put some aspect of the New World on a map, and so America was named for him. That always seemed spurious, but I haven't researched it or anything. And I accepted it for a while, but the idea that Native Americans were called Indians because Christopher Columbus thought he had landed in India, when Christopher Columbus didn't come to the main continent, he came to some islands close to Florida, and it seems odd to name every single inhabitant of an entire hemisphere after a misconception of somebody who didn't even get past the islands that were touching that close to that hemisphere. So it just seemed weird. But lately, the past couple years, adulthood, I've heard lots and lots and lots of people very interested in the Nephilim. It doesn't really interest me at all, but a lot of people talk about the Nephilim. And it made me think, well, I don't really understand what one particular word from the Hebrew Bible means. I doubt if we know for certain what that word means. But what if it means something like rapscallion? And you've got some people called that in Genesis, and you've got some people called that in Deuteronomy, and they don't have any connection to each other. They're just called rapscallions, just as a thinking exercise. I don't think every term in the Bible is about genealogy. It might be, there's obvious genealogical records there. But just because a word is used to describe a group of people in one place doesn't mean that they're genetically related to a group of people that word's also used in another place. So today it occurred to me that what if the word Indian meant somebody who's not a part of our world civilization, somebody that's tribal or somebody that's pagan or somebody that's other. So a person who consider themselves part of Christendom would meet somebody that wasn't a Mohammedan or who wasn't a Jew and might think, oh, well, that's an Indian. And that could be because Hindus, India, the Indus, those words talk about polytheism. Those words talk about what would have been considered heathens or pagans or non-believers, maybe less than human, maybe. But the word Indian would apply to anybody that an explorer came in contact with that wasn't part of a kingdom or a civilization or a recognized religion. Indian could include the West Indies, the East Indies, Indians, India, anywhere where a person came in contact with with others and wanted to designate them as other. And it wouldn't apply to a monotheistic culture or a fellow Christian culture. So it's just a thought that I had, that maybe Indian the term Indian, denotes a commonality between how Europeans saw people in India and how Europeans saw people in the New World who didn't have organized civilizations the way that Europeans would have expected, or didn't have religion the way Europeans would have expected. So that's my thought for today. Hope everybody's doing well. And the thing about this theory is that there's so much linguistic evidence that we could trace the word India through written records. It's all the same word. India, Indus, the river, Indians. We can trace that with written records that we cannot do with the word Nephilim, because that wasn't really on paper until it was in stone for 1,000 years. So, we've got some missing records in there. But the term Indian, Indus, India, I think we could trace it. I think we've got enough records that somebody could look into that and see if that makes any sense. That instead of a particular place, those terms refer to a type of tribal or ancient or polytheistic group of people, as opposed to a people from a particular geographical location. All right, that's it for today's video. Everybody, hope you're doing great, and Merry Christmas.